Hey, Balance Nation, it's Dr. Anthony G. Beck, and I had a fabulous weekend. It's Monday. Today I'm going to jump into a little bit of critical thinking suggestion because I'm loving what I'm seeing this morning. I took the weekend off from all of this hysteria. That's why I've been a little quiet in the group. And I've awakened to a big old Cheshire cat smile. And want to talk to you guys a little bit about that and why critical thinking is going to be critical now more than ever. Let's take a peek. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the tally. Let's tally. We always want to start off with these. In the days of coronavirus, in the days of corona. Okay, so what we've got here is, figured we were in a pickle, so this morning I had me a pickle. So I got a little bit of, got the coronavirus going on. Anyway, so let's see here. Let me zoom this bad boy out. Okay, so we've got 1,292,554 confirmed cases with a little over 70,000 deaths worldwide. In the United States as of the 6th of April, 338,999 confirmed, and those are air quotes. Remember, whenever we look at these confirmed, and I'm going to get into that here in just a second, cases, and then, of course, it is just shy of 10,000 deaths. That's 9,683. All right. Well, you guys probably saw that I was not really active. I okayed a few posts that people submitted. There's so many in the queue. I really appreciate you guys submitting posts to share with the group. I want to encourage you to keep doing that. And but I vet them all. So in other words, I go and I click them and I go and I have to read. So it's a lot of effort on my part before I authorize those to go out. And again, I don't censor them, because I want you guys to always have the balanced understanding to the degree to where I don't accept opposing opinions. You can always share opposing opinions. It's really important that we actually embrace opposing opinions. So I'll be putting more of that out in there today. There's a bunch more, so we'll see about getting those. But anyways, so I took the weekend off, didn't watch any of the news. It was really awesome, super refreshing. I encourage you guys to do that. Peeked in a couple of times to Facebook and Instagram just to kind of see what my people were doing. But that's about it. And I roasted 2 pork butts on my Rec Tech grill. Shout out to Rec Tech Grill, made in America up in Georgia. And it's a pellet grill, maintains a perfect temperature. So I did 2 big old pork butts and I did a whole chicken. It was amazing. And I made a big batch of my North Carolina barbecue sauce. So those who come to visit get a little pint jar to take with them of that liquid gold. So yeah, really productive. Did some fun things, and I played some Star Wars Battlefront 2 because I'm a Star Wars guy. If you guys haven't, so I had some fun. That's what I did. Had a great time this weekend, and it's lovely and delicious here in Florida today. All right, so that's my update. That's why I've been a little quiet in there. I've also been talking to some of my other physician colleagues, and I've got a couple of cool shows that we're going to do this week or next, where we're going to jump into this kind of stuff. I'm going to bring on, like I did with Nick Pinot. I know a big long name, but it's like the wine Pinot. And the thing about that is that I want you guys to start seeing some stuff. All right, so this is really why it's critical, because what I'm seeing now is people are questioning, and I'm so excited about it. And the other thing I'm seeing is I turned on, all I had to do is just watch the various news channels, and I'll skim through, Faux News, also known as Fox News, and, NBC and CNN and all the fake news people. Just kind of see what it is. And I look at the narrative of what they're saying, and you know what it is? They're pushing harder than ever on the social distancing and keep doing and whatever, and they'll sneak in, the numbers have plateaued. They plateaued. Because they don't want to say of what's been happening, okay? Because they got way too much money still to be made off of all this stuff. So as you know, the media is just notorious for all having groupthink and saying the same things, and of course each one of them has their respective sides and whatever. This is why I go to data, history, and precedent for my comfort, and that's really what I want you guys to do as well. So if you guys will recall, yours truly stuck his neck out in a video back on March 8th. And it was coronavirus, hysteria, hoax, and history. That was a good one, man. So you should go and watch that video again. So that's over on youtube.com/balance protocol. So all these videos that I do here in Balance Nation, they're going to be posted over there. Hey, listen, when you pop by there at youtube.com/balance protocol, subscribe. Because what happens is when you subscribe and particularly get notifications, it allows what we talk about to come up so other people can see it who otherwise wouldn't be there. So it's just a personal request. If you will help me be able to get more access and attention out there in the YouTube space, that'd be great. I'm lucky enough to not have any of my videos taken down yet. It's pretty cool. That's probably because I have less than 1,000 subscribers and that kind of stuff. So Balance Nation, hook a brother up. Go over there to YouTube. All right. Anyway, stuck my neck out. And the reason why is because I was able to look very critically at what was going on, history and precedent, and the morbidity numbers and the CDC website, and I was able to just deduce, right? So I'm being proven correct. Imagine that. So what I wanted to do today was also kind of spin this because I had some other things in mind, but I had a discovery call with a potential patient this morning. And it really touched my heart. And the reason why it touched my heart is because she told a tale as old as time. Boy, I miss some Disney. Gosh, Disney, get out of your nonsense, man, and open those parks back up. My princesses need their fix. But anyways, the thing is, a tale as old as time is digital marketers, self-proclaimed experts getting into the health and wellness coaching business. And basically what happened this morning is this young mom, she recently moved from Florida. Her name was Sarah. That's the only thing I'll tell you. And the thing is she was a former client of a guy named Evan Bran, who I've done a lot of looking into. People have asked me about him and stuff like that. And I find the guy to be a completely charlatan based upon what I've seen. He's basically a kid who went and bought a couple of few $1,000 courses and then held himself out as a functional medicine practitioner, and then hangs out with this other chiropractor who I kicked out of Balance Nation some months ago because he was a jerk sauce, very toxic, and I can count on one hand how many people I've kicked out of Balance Nation. Anyways, so she basically said that Evan Bran just sold her a whole bunch of supplements for her kid for autism, and it was the same dog and pony show. It's your gut. And the reason for this, you got to take all these supplements, and she spent $10,000, and she's just bawling her eyes out. Anyways, so that started my morning off, and I explained to her that that's what happens out there. Is everybody is trying to get in on the corona craze. If it wasn't bad before, it's going to be really bad now. And so I said, you know what? I'm just going to go and do transparency, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you these emails that I get all the time. And again, you guys know I'm not afraid to call people out by name. I'm not trying to do anything, but just show you guys, my opinion on these things, showing you based upon what I think. Don't believe me, do your own research, and so forth and so on. But you kind of need to know from my perspective and what I see, because that's what you guys are here for. You guys are for me to share my critical opinion. And so, what I'm watching is people are already pivoting in the business, right? So this one is from Mark Hyman, and it's, some of the things that he covered in these webinars is how to establish an immune resilience now and long term, which sounds real good. Supplements that are effective in supporting immunity, basic strategies to implement, and things like that. And I'm kind of going, the upshot is everybody's going to be telling you guys basically to buy supplements. This is going to be a big play for that. One of the other ones here is, this is Ben Lynch's outfit, Seeking Health, right? 7 tips to optimize your lung health. Now, I don't know if Ben is writing these or his staff is or whatever, but nose breathing, true. Pay attention to your posture, true. Stay hydrated, true. Okay. But then antioxidants, okay? You don't need no damn antioxidants. And of course, you click, the link, and that takes you to go and buy a supplement, right? So, well, that's slow to get you up. Anyways, so you don't need any of these damn supplements for lung health. Not at all. Okay, it's just not a true statement, guys. And the upshot for me, is the fact that I've told you guys I sell supplements. I recommend supplements. But the problem is when you start mixing in some things that are true and reasonable, but then you go off the rails on selling a product like that without getting people to test what their antioxidant level is, oxidative stress, various sources, and so forth like that. Well, here's the thing, guys. Did you know that you can actually test, your oxidative stress, right? Because here's the thing. If you start putting in supplements, I got to click through a whole bunch of stuff here. What will happen is you can actually induce oxidative stress. That's one of the big things that people don't understand, okay? So, one of the things is, let me close out this one here because that one's got a patient name on it. Let me see if I'll give you guys an example here, okay? Because this is actually important, okay? Let's see. Boom. So that one won't mind. I'll just make sure I covered up the name, okay? But let me just scroll to this, okay? All right, cool. Yep, all that's covered. All right. So these are some oxidative stress markers: whole blood glutathione, urine lipid peroxides, urine 8-OH-deguanine, CoQ10 in the serum, and then of course vitamin D. Sometimes we'll check as well. So here's the thing: these are what we call when they talk about oxidative stress. Okay, so this particular patient actually was over in CoQ10, no problem over here, and these a little low on the glutathione. So here's my point. That's Q square M square. If you start taking supplements that supposedly are for oxidative stress to support, that's the safe word, by the way, lung health or something along those lines, what's going to happen is you're not realizing that you can induce other imbalances. That's my point, okay? I don't care for recommendations in the absence of qualification for the correct patient or not, quantification as in to what degree they may or may not need it or when they should stop, which brings into the you should measure and monitor it, right? So these kind of things are crazy. And then recommending these air purifiers like this one here, like Allen air purifiers. That's a lousy air purifier. All it is just HEPA filter. It's a really good HEPA filter. It's really great. But it's really subpar because it doesn't do anything for the chemicals in the air. Doesn't take care of VOCs. Doesn't take care of formaldehyde. So just because you're filtering your air, can that on the PM or particulate matter 2.5 reduce those numbers and have less stress on your lungs? Sure, I'll grant that. Okay, but it's not the superior way to go. And we certainly, don't need to necessarily go and take probiotics, another product, to go and do that in order to do some things, right? So that's kind of crazy. One of the other things is here in my email, this is all just this morning, by the way. This is just literally just this morning and yesterday. So I'm just checking there. And then, of course, Isabel Wentz, she's another one that really, sells a lot of products for fixes and stuff. And I'm not putting her down, but I like the fact that she talked about the 3-drug protocol and that it was still experimental. So that's really good. I was really happy to see that. So that made me smile. But then, of course, zinc and then what it particularly does. And there's some right and wrong things. I did like what she put in here. Zinc doses above 30 milligrams used long-term may deplete copper and iron levels, which can be good for people who are iron toxic or copper toxic, but problematic for already deficient in iron and copper. So see how cool that is? So I was really excited to see her make that disclosure that here you are taking zinc for something and you don't understand where you're at in the actual scheme of things, right? So, the upshot, so that was a good one, right? So, of course, sells other supplements for the stuff, but I didn't really care for that. But one of the things that you guys also understand is that as a regular measure, you should have your nutrient markers measured, okay? So, like, for instance, I'll come back to this one here again, okay? So here we are taking a look at elemental markers. Okay, so this person right here's copper is at 122 micrograms per deciliter, and their zinc is 117. They don't need any damn zinc. They're actually in relative balance. The copper's a little high. I like that to be around 100 to 105, and I like zinc to be about 110 to 120. But anyway, so see this person right here doesn't need zinc. Doesn't need it. Okay, so taking it would just put taxation and throw you overboard. So don't be taking things from supplement pushers out there. Okay, that's the take home on that. That's number one. Second thing I've also showed you guys is the whole term of cytokine storm. There are labs that I do with patients that we actually take a look at these T helper cells 1 and 2 differentiations. These interleukins, those are cytokines, okay? So they can be tested, right? So the thing about it is it just all depends on what your starting point is, okay? So this is why critical thinking is going to be more important than ever, because people, if you haven't already been taking them under the ruse that you need to take them to combat coronavirus, you're like, well, I don't ever want to have problems with my immunity in the future, so I'm going to start popping all these pills. Well, that same lady who I talked to this morning, who had worked with that guy Evan Bran, I've had so many dozens of patients that they've come to me and said the same thing. She has a boy with autism, and he's on 30 different supplements. 30. I couldn't believe it. It still blows my mind that people are still trying to do that. And so I had to tell her, hey, listen, you're treating autism. You're not supporting systems. You need to assess the systems and correct imbalances. Because she's like, well, I'm gluten-free, dairy-free, this free, and he can't have a solid stool. And I'm like, well, maybe you should give him some dairy and some grain to bulk up the stool. What a shocker. Blows people's minds, right? I can't tell you how many bowel cases I have healed using those foods that people inadvertently will call, by default, harmful for everybody. We can determine if they're harmful for you or not through labs. Okay, so I eat the hell out of grains. I eat the hell out of dairies. I don't have any problems in the world. All right. So on that note, what I wanted to do is just kind of keep going here and show you guys some of these fun things. And and then last but not least, I want to start calling out these fearmongers, because it's really important to remember this history, because it'll give you comfort when it happens again, because it will. Okay, here's another one that's part of that cabal out there. Seemingly nice guy, Yuri Elcom. You guys have probably seen him around. He's that bald guy that you see out there, started on YouTube a long time ago, and now he's pivoting over. And look at these graphs. If you don't know, basically now he's trying to market to other practitioners to train in that way of basically picking a niche and selling supplements and programs and stuff like that. Anyways, you can see that sadly COVID-19 is not going away anytime soon. Look at this graph. Look at this. I mean, what an example of intellectual dishonesty. And for the uneducated, the non-critical thinker, they're going to believe this dumbass. All right? The fact remains, you cannot just do nothing. You must act. If you don't, it's necessary sitting in a lounge chair and beach during a Category 5 hurricane. You'll be blown away. But anyways. So basically, this is a pander to bring in money. Our clients just brought in $692,000 in March alone. Bang! So people are still looking and paying for solutions. You see the money grab? That's the thing. Now, I'm a capitalist. I train other clinicians, and my program is very expensive too. And I want them to make money and make profit by helping others. But if you have to do it by being intellectually dishonest with these and fear-mongering, I have a major problem with it, because it comes into my industry. Okay? So what's really important to understand is to remember who said what and when. I stuck my neck out before any of this stuff, before the country even came to any lockdowns or stuff like that, and I called it out like what it was. Now, when we go to the ticker, right, the corona ticker that we've all been watching here, okay, one of the things I want you guys to understand, okay, which is really super, super important here, is the fact that people aren't telling people, and I had a conversation with just another person who was calling me just over the weekend, 1.292 million cases. Do you guys know that's just cases? In other words, that number is going to continue to grow, okay? It's never going to go down. That doesn't mean that's how many people are currently sick, okay? Remember, because what they're not showing you is is the total recovered. All right. So you have to minus that number off of that number. Did you know that? You have the total cases will always be an ever increasing number. So that little curve will continue to go up like that. That's what will happen. Okay. So it's really important to understand and differentiate what you're seeing there. Okay. So hey guys, I see my stream is a little slow and digital on my end. So if it's a little slow, let me know in the comments. Okay. So the upshot here is that you have to realize that number will keep growing and makes the uneducated, unknowledgeable person go, oh my God, it just keeps getting more and more and more, right? So here we're this deep into it, April 6th, and only 1.2 million, and that's confirmed cases. Now remember, those confirmed cases are not confirmed. That's a lie. They're not confirmed, okay? Number one, because they're lumping everybody into that same category, okay? They're even giving, if you go and you can take a look at, they even come up with these numbers. We call them ICD-10 codes. Okay, so that it's Bravo 34.2 for both COVID-19 confirmed cases and probable cases. You see that crap? And probable. That ICD-10 code, okay, is for both. Then you got Z20.82, what is that? 8? Yeah. For possible causes and contacts for those who are confirmed and or probable cases. Okay? So the coding that doctors use on charts and submission to insurance for reimbursement and things like that is lumping in confirmed with probable. You see that? That's proof. That's the bullshit. Okay? So you can't go and just stick them all in the same loop. Probable, impossible, and confirmed. Okay? That's a big problem. I have a problem with that. Okay, that to me, if you use wrong codes like that and you did insurance submission, every doctor out there knows that you could get busted for insurance fraud by using the wrong codes. Okay, so why in the world would anybody be believing those stupid numbers? Okay, now as you guys know, what I was doing was I was charting these numbers. I've been plugging them in. I took a couple of days off. But basically, every blue line was where it was supposed to double, okay? So the thing is as you can tell, we're not doubling, all right? Everybody kept saying they'll be doubling. We'll have this many cases by this amount of time and so forth and so on. No, we're not. We have about 1,000 a day. So think about that. Now, currently, we're less than 10,000. I said that we would be around less than 10,000. One time I said about 500,000 cases and about 8,000 or 7,400 deaths. And I still believe that number because I don't believe the death number at all. It's totally phony baloney because they're coding these wrong. And how do we know that? Well, let's take a look at the guidelines from the CDC. Okay, this is super important. This is the reporting guidance, okay, for April from the National Department, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, okay, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, okay, guidance for certifying deaths due to coronavirus, okay. Look at this. I just highlighted them for you. If COVID-19 played a role in the death, okay, this condition should be specified on both on the death certificate. In some cases, survival from COVID-19 can be complicated by pre-existing chronic conditions. Well, of course, we know that. I covered that in other videos. Especially those that result in diminished lung capacity, such as chronic obstructive pulmonary disease or asthma. Okay? These medical conditions do not cause COVID-19, but can increase the risk of contracting a respiratory infection. Okay? But guess what? In cases where a definite diagnosis of COVID-19 cannot be made, but it is suspected or likely, ergo the circumstances are compelling within a reasonable degree of certainty, it is acceptable to report COVID-19 on the death certificate as a probable or presumed. In these instances, certifiers should use their best clinical judgment in determining if COVID-19 infection was likely. However, please note that testing for COVID-19 should be conducted whenever possible. So what's the conclusion? An accurate count of the number of deaths due to COVID-19 infection, which depends in part on proper death certification, is critical to ongoing public health surveillance and response. So it's critical, but you can bullshit the numbers. That's what they said. This is from the CDC. You can go there and look it up. Okay, I just shared it with you. That's the difference between me and everybody else. That's nature, man. It's the cranes. I got my doors open, letting it all come in today. Hopefully they don't walk in here. One of them had a broken wing. I feel so bad for him. Anyways, the COVID diagnoses of these deaths, we're at 9,600 today, is bullshit. You can't trust that number, and we sure as heck can't make proper ongoing public health surveillance and response justification like keeping the country locked down. That's right. They agree with me. The birds are like, yeah, call that bullshit, Dr. B. Okay? So that's so important, you guys. That is the nail in the coffin. Okay? So the bottom line is we're being lied to. Okay? People aren't at large looking this up. I'm not the only one who showed this, by the way. Okay? But the thing about that is it's a big problem. They're also not telling you things like this, that there was an increased risk of non-influenza respiratory virus infections associated with what? Receipt of the inactivated influenza vaccine. Now, why is that important? Well, because they did a randomized 115 children to trivalent inactivated flu vaccine versus placebo. And you know what? The flu shot makes you more susceptible to infection. So remember when Fauci, that fruit bag, I don't like him. You guys know that because he hangs out with people who have the agenda. Him and Bill Gates are buddies. The bottom line is he said on video, and I recorded it, and it's in Balance Nation, and the world has shared it out there online. He said that you can give the person the disease that you're trying to prevent with the vaccines. Fact. Unbelievable disclosure. Okay? Yeah, that's what we're saying. So why is critical thinking now most important than ever? Because you got to keep questioning and realizing, because in the aftermath of this, like I said, it's all done by May. The bottom line is we are going to ask ourselves the hard questions. I can't believe that the world, much less the United States, went in lockstep and took social distancing into quarantine and to isolation. Okay, first and foremost, let me make you guys understand. You guys have always known I told you I'm a Christian, capitalist, and constitutionalist. It's unconstitutional to keep people forced into their homes. It is. Now, if you do it of your own accord, then it's not. But they can't force people to do that. When does this end? A month from now? 60 days? 90 days? You need to start asking yourself the hard question, when are you going to put up with it? I'm not going to put up with it. Now, here's the beautiful thing. I work from home. I've had a virtual practice since January of 2009. I train clinicians all around the world virtually, and I see patients all around the world virtually. My life really hasn't changed, okay? I have all my cool stuff here at the house. I'm self-contained. I go out from time to time to go to the store and whatnot. Okay, so I'm kind of in a interesting spot because I'm not feeling the pains and the woes that go along with it. Now, it's affecting my business. Which incidentally, I'm going to show you another sidebar. I called up the SBA. Okay, I went to SBA.gov, clicked. I want to see some of these programs, how they're using this money, because on TV they're telling you, hey, small business owners, everything is okay. Just go to SBA.gov, click on relief, and you've got all these programs where you can basically get some money that will help you out, and then it'll be forgiven. You won't have to pay it back if you meet these type of things. Well, guess what? It was not an easy process. Do that. If you guys, remember, don't believe me, go for yourself. SBA.gov, and go as if you are a small business, and if you are a small business, go and do that. And go through the process and see if there's a clear-cut way for you to apply. There's not. It's an endless loop of links and clicks to oblivion. So finally, what did I do? Beep, boop, boop, boop. I called the SBA office up in Jacksonville, Florida. Talked to a lovely lady by the name of Natalie, and I said, "Hey, listen, I'm calling because of the small business loan stuff that's available due to the stimulus package and so forth and so on. And I was really excited to hear about that. Want to get some more information on it. But here's the thing: I'm in an endless click of links, and there's no place to really apply. And so then I went and I clicked, well, I figured out, well, maybe I need to just contact the SBA lenders directly. So I got the list of all the ones in there, and I started calling them, and no one was answering their phone. Can you give me some insight into what's going on? Hand to God, here's what the lady Natalie said at the SBA in Jacksonville, Florida. She goes, I'm telling everybody, don't even bother. Don't even bother, because the banks are not lending out that money. The only way, and this is what they don't tell you, okay, is that only if you already currently have an account with some of these banks will they even accept your application. So much for this, paycheck protection plan and the $10,000 stop loss gap that were being sold on TV, where they pulled freaking $6 trillion dollars out of their butts. You're not getting it. I'm gonna predict another thing today, April 6th. Dr. AGB predicted that you will hear a huge backlash from small business owners across the country who went to go get that cash and it wasn't made available to them. Hadn't even seen it in the news yet. It's coming, because I went and tested it myself. So anyways, what we have to do is be thinking about what we're doing moving forward, okay? And we have to critically think. But in order to do that, we need to take a look at things, right? So what I want to do is just as another reminder, okay? Because here's the deal. Call him out by name, okay? You guys probably know this gentleman, okay? Jack Cruz, okay? Back in the day, in second week of March, okay? It says, anyone who tells you this is a hoax should be shunned, and they are idiots. Okay, so shunning is warranted, encouraged, and so forth. So I'm going to do a little shunning, okay? So here's the deal. March 16th, we were supposed to have 10,000 cases by the 18th of March, 100,000 cases by the 26th, 1 million cases by the 4th, and if a 10% require hospitalization by April 5th, the U.S. passes 1.6 million cases, or 10 times the number of ventilators we have in the United States. And by April 11th, 9.24 million mother flippin', that's what M stands for, cases, and 10 times the total hospitals currently, and so forth and so on, okay? And he claims it based upon Clyburn's power laws. Well, guess what? Clyburn's power laws have nothing to do with these numbers. That has to do with metabolic rate as pertains to and relates to the mass of the animal taking in calories. So Clyburn's power laws have nothing to do with this, okay? But just as a reminder, okay? So much for those numbers, okay? So if you think in another week that all of a sudden we're going to shoot up to 9 million cases, okay? So you got to choose. Now people go, well, Beck, don't put other people down to build yourself up. No one can build me up anymore. I told you I'm as messed up as a soup sandwich, okay? And I don't know everything. But what I do know is I will stand by what I say, and I don't bring out panic and hysteria, okay? What I don't like is people telling you to give up your freedoms, because we're down to 2 options now as a planet for the virus. Extreme, all caps, you guys, from Big Fat Jack Cruz, okay? Long-term social distancing and or overwhelmed healthcare systems which fail under viral capacity, okay? Remember, this is Dr. Jack Cruz, okay? He's wrong as hell, just like his epi-paleo prescription is wrong, and it didn't work for him because he's still morbidly obese, all right? So at the end of the day, you got to make your decision. Do you want your freedom? Do you want your constitutional right? Or you want to listen to these talking head fat idiots who aren't healthy themselves, okay? Just like Chris Kresser, he's on, go look at his Instagram. Panicked as hell. Oh my God, the cases and the things, and we're not going to win, and we're going to do this. I mean, scared out of his mind. And here I am, they're all attacking me online. Okay, Chris didn't, right? And calling me a COVIDiot when I said, listen, I've got history, data, and precedent on my side. What do you have? Crystal balls, tarot cards, chicken bones in a plate. Oh no, these models, and I've already shown you guys the models are absolutely broken. They're putting in wrong data. And now we have proof that what's happening is they are going to make pivots to keep this narrative going. We've seen the hospitals overburdened lie come out. They're doing photo ops using other countries and other times. The coffins were not There's pictures of coffins out there of all these dead people. Now, are people dying? I'm sure they are, but not of COVID-19 because they're telling people to lie about it. You can't believe that. Now, I'm not going to get into to the reasons as to why, and their long-term play and what does it mean and follow the money yet, because I'm building that case. Okay, I'm building the case. Okay, and I'm building the case about the involvement of 5G and its influence. Okay, you know who does have it right? Dr. Kelly Brogan. Okay, you guys want me to give a shout out? Kelly Brogan, MD. You can follow her on Instagram, and she's critically thinking. I'm so happy, right? I know I was the first person out there who started talking about this stuff and talked to you guys and said, hey, listen, I'm going to go out on a limb. I don't believe in the germ theory, and I told you guys about exosomes. You see how they look and act like viruses? Okay, so it's nice to see other people doing that. I'm loving Dr. Shiva. I don't like his nutritional prescription, but that's okay. We don't have to agree on everything. But this is a ruse, and you guys need to start making the decision right now, okay? Do you ever wonder why? How did that dirtbag, we always use him as the ultimate example, Hitler, okay? How did he convince a country to do what he did, to build all that stuff, and to rat out your neighbors and to tattletale? They're not. I'm seeing that. There's people cutting down trees and blocking people's driveways. We've got lifeguards out in California in their boats and calling the Coast Guard for guys that are out there by themselves paddleboarding to be arrested. There's people live streaming, right? They've got their friends and they're having a good time and they're playing music and stuff. And you've got people calling the police on them because they're not social distancing because they have more than 6 people in the house. This is happening in America, guys. If you're that kind of person, you're the same people who would tattletale on Harriet Tubman, okay, for the Underground Railroad. Think of that. You have no damn business getting in other people's business, especially over all this hoax. Shame on that. So listen, guys, those friends and or families that are doing that, be grateful that they've revealed themselves, because now you can justifiably social distance your life away from them. That's what you should do, because you can't trust them. I would never have a friend or family or close person that would do that stuff to me, okay? It's unbelievable. That's vile. We have a constitution, you guys. You got to critically think, and you got to wise up. Let me show you something else that's really bugged me. So then I got this company out here that a lot of functional medicine practitioners we get something called a GI map. We get different functional tests from, and they're a decent company. But look at this now. They're getting in on it, okay, and offering a stool test for COVID-19 or SARS-CoV. So here's the thing. Not only is it a flawed test, these guys will start selling these kits to uneducated, non-real practitioners to take people's turds and do a test for SARS-CoV. Holy crap, pun intended. Okay, so even the labs are getting in on it. That's what's cracking me up. Okay, then I saw this other really cool video on Facebook the other day, right, where I see these guys over here. This is where all your masks are being made. Not all of them, but look at this. Look at all these surgical masks that they're going to want people to be required to actually do. Okay, and that's something else. I mean, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. Yeah, you want to put that on your face, right? I mean, let's just jump ahead here. Look at the date. Okay, so these were being made. People are using these masks, right? These surgical masks. People are cracking me up. Yeah, is this really where you want your surgical mask because there's a thing? Now, I don't know if that's coming to the United States or not. I have no idea. But it just goes to show you what happens when the market forces start to kick in. All right? And it's awful. All right? The other thing is now more studies will come out. Now we're seeing that we have confirming that 4/5 of the cases are asymptomatic. This is from the British Medical Journal. I mean, there's just so much for me to get caught up on. I wanted to show you guys. It's crazy. All right? And then here's the deal. This is the big thing that's cracking me up. You guys have seen this go around. I had to go over there and, of course, look it up myself and take a screenshot for you, okay? And it's this, okay? So this is from the CDC's data, okay? Flu things, pneumonia deaths, okay? per the weeks. Look at this drop. What happened? So you mean to tell me over the last 7 years they've all kind of done this? Now remember, these are deaths, guys. Deaths. The passing of life that normally happens at the beginning of the year. Week 1. Here's February, January, down here at the bottom. Then there's February, and then March. Look what happened in March. Blam! All of a sudden, the damn pneumonia deaths magically drop off for the first time in 8 years? Why is that? Because they're false diagnosing and they're given the wrong cause of death. And I showed you that already. So the question is this. Do you or do you not trust the powers that be? Mine is no. If you have people who get angry and lose their mind, maybe they're out of their mind, at you for questioning it and calling you the conspiracy theorist, how is that rational? They're the ones who are batshit crazy. They're the ones who are not logical and that are irrational, especially if they get militant about it. If someone disagrees with me, I always go, okay, what are they saying? Why are they saying that? We get critically thinking, we be inquisitive. If you disagree with me, I don't go, oh yeah, you know what? Well, you're just a this and you're that. Question the numbers. It's okay for you to do that, Balanced Nation. That's the point, okay? These are the numbers that are being reported. The data is going to get in there, and the sleuths are going to find this stuff out. It's just like I'm still waiting for pictures of these overrun hospitals. It's not there. All the tons of bodies, they're not there. Okay? Then, of course, you guys saw this particular video, right? And I'm going to show it to you here in Balanced Nation about the doctor who was in New York and basically saying, hey, I don't know what the heck is going on. I've never seen this kind of thing before, right? Not viral pneumonia. Some of you guys posted it. I clicked it in there a whole bunch. If you haven't watched that, make sure you watch that in Balanced Nation, okay? Exactly. There's more than meets the eye here, okay? So, when it comes down to things, we need to start thinking about what's going to happen in the future, okay? Because currently, and this is Donald Trump Jr. on Instagram, in Cincinnati, Ohio, okay? They're no longer dispatching officers for assault charges with no injury, breaking and entering, criminal or property damage, lost, stolen property, or menacing phone harassment. So no, you're not getting any of that because of COVID, okay? Isn't that crazy? Do you guys really want that to keep going? I sure as heck don't, okay? That's ridiculous, okay? So I want people to understand that what my point of today's episode is to make sure you continue to critically think, know that it's okay to question, it's okay to call people out, give your dissenting opinion, call them by name. If you disagree with me, call me out. There's all kinds of nasty things that people are saying on my YouTube videos about me, and it's fine. Okay, it's not going to hurt me personally, okay? Because the beautiful thing is I'm sharing opinion. And I'm telling you, don't believe me, go and check my math and go do the fact check and look for yourself. But don't put down other people who are questioning the narratives, okay? One fun little thing you guys can do is you guys can go and look up the swine flu expose by Eleonora McBean. It's a book, and here it is online, for free, because it's not on Amazon. And the cool thing about this is it talks about the 1918 pandemic of the swine flu, right? Oh, excuse me. It talks about the swine flu, but it talks about the Spanish influenza epidemic of 1918. Pardon me. Okay? So, you know what they did was, spoiler alert, they had a whole bunch of vaccine that they need to get rid of. And go read the book. And the timing of when they rolled out this vaccine. Remember, this is in 1918, where medicine was crazy. Did you know in the 1918 text, doctors were actually doing the unthinkable, and actually they used to do something called coffee enemas? Wow, what were they, thinking? Doc, that's right. The medical text back then, all kinds of things that are mocked now used to be in their history. So go back to the history, study this stuff, okay? The bottom line is go and look. Go look for yourself. Don't believe me. Go read and realize that damn pandemic was caused by a vaccine. What? Yep. Go read it. It's a great argument. Now, could they be wrong? Maybe. But does it, does it play to my confirmation bias? Yes. So I'm going to go with that, okay? But here's the thing. Vaccines are not the answer, never were the answer, which is why you need to avoid that evil dude named Bill Gates. He's got, billions and billions into this, and talk about no one can leave until we have mass vaccinations. This was their opportune time to come in with their diabolical plan to kill off more people and to do tracking, okay? He's a eugenicist. He wants to reduce the population of the planet. He decimated Africa and their health, okay? Imagine that. Go over to a poor country or continent and guinea pig them on stuff. It's terrible. It's absolutely heinous. That's what I'm trying to help you guys prevent. So then the other thing is, don't go believe in these freaking fact checkers either. Don't rely on fact checkers to fact check. Okay? Facebook fact checkers, PolitiFact. Give me a break. Talking about these kind of stuff, saying that coronavirus doesn't have a patent. Yes, it does. Okay? And then they're calling out, all these concerns, right? Now, I get it. I'm not a big fan of InfoWars, but I like the way that Alex Jones makes people think. Same thing with the health ranger, Mike Adams, okay? I think does some douchebaggery also. But again, don't be afraid to look at all the arguments and come up with your understanding. Give both air to your mind so you can understand, okay? Now, one of the things that I don't care for, and I haven't put out, is you guys are, some people have probably seen, I'm going to show you this one here too. And it's kind of hard to see a guy in a bad light who, has such an Aussie accent. Okay. So this guy here, so Hollywood's going to submit this one, but anyways, boom, this guy here, you've probably seen that, Tom Barrett, about you can't catch a virus and so forth. I'm going to be covering that later. He's actually incorrect. Okay. I appreciate what he's saying, but didn't say it contextually correct. Okay. The bottom line is, I'll spoiler alert. There are labs and animals that create these protein constructs that contain RNA on the inside of them. Okay. We've talked about viruses. We've talked about exosomes. Those are real. Okay. That's why they can be patented, because you can make them. So to say viruses aren't real is contextually false. To say you can't catch a virus is false, okay? Because you can produce these molecules, whether a viral or an exosome, whatever way you want to look at it. It can come out and it can get on surfaces and you can pick it up. Now, they don't live on the surface because they're not alive, okay? But just like you could pick up, a raisin and stick it up your nose randomly and probably get a sinus infection. Okay, you didn't catch it, you stuck it in there. So if you touch a surface and you pick up a immunologically upheaval inducing molecule into your eyes, your nose, or your mouth, yes, you can get sick. Okay? So to just blanket say that they're not real, I think that's contextually wrong. To say you can't catch is contextually wrong. Okay? But there's more to that, and we're going to get into that later, okay, at another video. All right, so don't believe the fact checkers. Do your own fact checking, because they are censors, okay? They're not fact checking anything, right? What you want to understand here is why this is so important is because another field of medicine called psychoneuroimmunology, okay, psychoneuroimmunology. Because of the stress and the things that are going on and the worry and the fear and the lack of looking at the data, the history and the precedent, what happens is people are inducing sickness. I've talked to you about Rupert Sheldrake's work called morphic resonance and how energetics can actually induce physiological function, okay? That would up to and include and manifest as illness. Dr. Bruce Lipton talks about it in The Biology of Belief, okay? So I know it gets a little woo-woo for people, but we have to understand that if you can get so scared, your physiology gets scared and you pee your pants, okay? Happened to me when I got in a street fight back in Fort Wayne, Indiana, right? I was in fifth grade? Man, made my own nunchuck, cut a piece of wood in half, put it together, piece of leather. What? Right? Because the deal was we were going to rumble on the way home, right? And me and my brother and two of our buddies, it went down on the corner. These high schoolers pulled up in this red Camaro, and my buddies, boom, took off when they jumped out of the car. It was just my brother and I. Lo and behold, okay, my brother got locked up with one guy. The other guy, had him down. I started freaking nunchucking him like nobody's business. Blam, blam, blam. When it was all done, totally peed my pants. Yep, I ain't afraid to say it. Okay, so, little TMI. So in other words, I know firsthand that your mind and your fears can cause physiology to happen. Ladies, you've told me before, you're so worried, you missed your period. Oh my gosh, I'm pregnant, what am I going to do? And you keep missing your period. So you mean to tell me your mind can literally shut off hormonally regulated systems? Yes. Okay? Okay, so enough examples of that. Psychoneuroimmunology. Stress response increases cytokines, pro-inflammatory cytokines. Everybody's going, oh, the cytokine storm. And oh, by the way, buy all my supplements for the cytokine storm. Never even testing your cytokines, and I showed you that it can be done. So anyways, yes, these molecules kick off by just what's playing in your head. You can choose to what movie you listen to in your head. You totally can. You don't have to listen to the fear-mongering, fat, unhealthy, toxic capitalists who are just trying to profit off of this. Don't do it. Call them out as they are. Look at the numbers. Take solace in that. It's not happening. The curve is already flattened. Quite frankly, it was always pathetic anyways, and I showed you guys that in the model. It was never going to do this, and I said it from day one, and I'm dead on balls right. They're going to try to extend this thing out into October, November, and whatever. They're setting people up to start injecting you with more fear. I can't believe that the nation shut down for the first time in its history over this. It should never happen again. If anything we learn from this is hell no. We're not going to be making decisions like this to have millions and millions of people file for unemployment because of some stupid model, because of some stupid supposed expert like Fauci. Hashtag fire Fauci. We need America to get back to work. And the only way that can happen is if you guys stand up, let your voices be heard, and put it out there, okay? When the fight happens, don't run away from those of us who are out there with the nunchucks. Nunchukakus. Okay? If I'm out here nunchucking, it sucks to be alone. If I have to be, so be it. Okay? I know that I'm not. But at the end of the day, are you guys going to fight for your freedom? Okay? That even at the cost of losing friends and people wanting to rat you out and tell on you. You don't need them anyways. They're not going to be there for you. Oh my gosh. What your friends should do, if they were a friend, is not call and rat you out or give you a hard time, or your neighbor. You should say, hey, listen, man, can you do? Why aren't you? They should always start with questions. You can always tell if someone, where they're wired is if they first seek to understand, if they start to ask questions first. First seek to understand why you're doing what you're doing. Can you give me some insights why you're out here doing this and whatever? You see what I'm saying? It's unbelievable. Now, the funny thing is that I saw some footage of, this abortion clinic, right? They're still open. Essential business, right? Kill off the kids. And then the thing is, but then the people who are nonprofit organization counselors, COVID, and it's the COVID cough. That's where I'm going to start doing that. From now, I'm going to freak everybody out every time I cough. People say, if I sneeze, and they go, bless you, I'm going to go COVID. They're calling the police and having people who would otherwise be able to walk on the sidewalk to counsel or give a different opinion before you go in, and murder a child. The thing is they're arresting those people. How convenient. How convenient that is. Look at what kind of things are going to get justified, you guys. And you know what? Look at the political parties and you decide which one's agenda is going to be served by this type of governmental control. Compulsory vaccination. Being microchipped and things like that, because that's where we're headed. Why are we headed that way? Because the powers that be, like Bill Gates and Fauci, want that to happen because it's more control. And I told you that fear is the currency of control. So they got to keep you getting fear. The only way you can get past fear is to critically think and go research and look and question for yourself. See how this all comes full circle, guys? It's super important. All right? So what I want you to realize, okay, is that ultimately it's up to you. the mortality rate versus the case fatality rate versus the death rate are three different numbers, okay? And what you got to realize is that the numbers will wash out later. The only thing that's going to happen here that I actually am really super happy about, okay, is later on they will do the antibody testing, okay? Now, it's funny. It's by a company called Abbott. Abbott's also the same company who actually makes those, I think it's Ensure, you know, that artificial, that's just the high fructose corn syrup and bad protein, a whole bunch of vitamins, you know, that the cheap drinks that, you know, they treat diabetes with. Anyways, the antibody testing will roll out, but what I don't want it to ever be done is attached to some type of governmental service or control, like driver's licenses or school admission or any of that kind of fun stuff, okay? Coronaviruses have been around for a long time. They've been around. They're going to be around for a long time, okay? Because they exist in nature. They're identifiable, okay? We can use PCR to pull them and replicate them. It's not like a made-up thing. In the context of what they're saying to be, that part's not true. But the bottom line is vaccines don't work. They're not safe. They're not effective. They can't be, especially given the fact that they're saying that these viruses are always mutating. Well, you can't keep up with the mutations. How are you ever going to keep up with the vaccines? Okay? So nail in the coffin for vaccines just when it comes to keeping up with the so-called mutations. Okay? The errors in how they replicate. You call them mutations, but they're just error in replication. Same thing that happens in PCR testing. Anytime you amplify something, the more you do it, any error inherent with it will become magnified, which is why the test is bogus and 50 to 80% false positive. Go look at the science. It's simple. I'm going to break that test down for you guys later. But the point is that we have to make sure that we protect our freedoms at all costs. The reason why we have the United States Constitution is to keep us sober in times just like this. That's the point, okay? You can't take away a person's free speech. You can't disarm them. You can't, take over their home. You can't get evidence against them. You can't search them. You can't, all the things that will come into play here. You can't force people to give up a sample. That's illegal search, okay, and seizure. You can't make it tied to these things. We have got a constitutional crisis coming, okay? You got to start asking yourself now, what side are you going to be on? Freedom or the other ones? And that's the last thing I want to leave you guys with, because this post got a lot of rough words in the post, in Balanced Nation, okay? And as you'll notice, I didn't censor anybody and I didn't kick them out, okay? And the reason is because this is the type of dialectic that I want. I want you guys to not use rough language at each other. Remember, don't have the reflex to come at somebody, okay? But at the end of the day, we're going to have disagreements, and we're going to be passionate about it, okay? Give me a second. I'm scrolling to it here, guys. These ankle bracelets, for people who are exposed, and they want to keep you in your house. Are you out of your mind? Thank you, Bart, for doing this. Goodbye, freedom. Okay. Ronald Reagan said freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. Or one day we will suspend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children that what it was once like in the United States when men were free. You guys, I'm telling you, question. Critically think. You have to stand with those of us who are out there sticking our necks out, okay? Where's the other one at? Okay, this post right here. I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery, okay? I want to make sure everybody understands me crystal clear, okay? So do I. You damn right I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery, because slavery is bad. How do they keep people enslaved? By shackling them physically and mentally, beating them down emotionally, and saying you'll never amount to anything, okay? Being reliant upon the master, okay? I love this. If you don't like it, okay, that's fine. If Balanced Nation isn't the place for you, well, then you can get to stepping, okay? But people have given their lives to protect your freedom, okay? I know the wages of war and what it does to the brain and to the family. I know what the suicide rates are like and going to be from this nonsense, okay? So I take that very personally, okay? If I have to lose my freedom in the fight for your freedom, so be it, because that's what I'm going to do, okay? You cannot be enslaved by these fears and stuff. I will never, upon pain of death, be forced to inject something into my body. No, sir. Nope. Not at all. I'll never give up my freedom for safety, ever. Okay? I'm never going to self-enslave by doing that. You guys can make your own decision when it comes to that. All right, Balance Nation, I love you the best. Appreciate your comments. But here's the thing, this is going a little bit long, so I'm not going to go through each one of you guys' comments in there. If you guys want to share this, you're going to go over to youtube.com/balance protocol. Make sure you subscribe. That's where you can grab the link for that. For those of you who are watching it on YouTube randomly, you can come over here to facebook.com/groups/Balance Nation if you want to see these live. You guys can also follow me over there on the IG, which is at Balance Protocol. So I know I get a little serious on these calls. People come at me, man. You guys wouldn't believe the stuff in the private messages I get on Instagram and so forth and on Facebook, okay? The threats are real to me, okay? But I'm not going to change the thing because these are my opinions, okay? This is why I always say watch the scrolling disclosure at the end of all of my videos, okay? But we'll keep fighting the good fight. Listen, it's sunshine and rainbows coming, y'all. The illusion of this COVID-19 coronavirus hysteria is lifting. You guys are proving it 10 days to Sunday, and I'm super excited, okay? Yes, there'll be some more numbers of deaths and stuff like that, but it ain't going to be the 100,000, 200,000 that all those people were saying. I said it from the beginning that it wasn't going to be. It just can't be by the numbers, okay? That's it. All right, Balance Nation, hang in there, and I'll catch you here later this week. Love you like you and I. And when I say I love you, I mean it. And you guys really, this is the reason why I do this. I don't get paid to do it. I take all the risk just to make sure you guys, get access to proper information. We'll talk to you soon.